Hello, grade 3. How are you? In this week, inshallah, we will continue Unit 9. So, let's start. We will start with speaking, class book page 70 and workbook page 66. We have here a table with 5 headlines. Biggest fruit, fastest transport, tallest animal, smallest country, and slowest animal. You can see that under each headline there are 3 choices. Let's see the example. What's the slowest animal? A monkey. So you have to ask and answer depending on the table. Let's see another example. What's the biggest fruit? Look at the choices. A grape, an apple, or a melon. Excellent, a melon. Let's see another example. What's the tallest animal? A cat, a giraffe, or a lion? Excellent, a giraffe. Please play this game with your family at home.
Listening
And now,
82.
It's
Listen
time
and
to
sing. My quiz.
What's the biggest country? Do you know? Do you know? What's the highest mountain? Do you know? Listen to my quiz, listen to my quiz, and tell me what the answer is. Do you know? Do you know? Do you know what the answer is? Listen to my quiz, listen to my quiz, and tell me what the answer is. What's the biggest ocean? Do you know? Do you know? What's the smallest country? Do you know? Listen to my quiz, listen to my quiz, and tell me what the answer is. Do you know? Do you know? Do you know what the answer is? Listen to my quiz, listen to my quiz, and tell me what the answer is.
Let's learn some phonics. We are in class book page 71 and workbook page 67. I want from you to repeat after me. Say and like in sand, sand, and pond, pond. Excellent. Again, say and, sand, and pond. Let's move for another sound. Repeat after me. Ant, ant, ant. Excellent. Like in plant, plant. Great. Tent, tent. Again, say ant, plant, tent. Great job. Let's move for another sound. Imp, imp, imp. Great. Like in lamp, lamp, and camp, camp. Say it again. Imp, lamp, camp. Now let's answer exercise number 2. Listen and chant, and I want from you to circle all the words that have the three sounds end, ent, and imp. We put up the tent at the big camp. We hear the wind. We light the lamp. We sit by the pond. We look at the plants. We're happy together, just me and my aunt. Now, let's answer exercise number 4. Circle the end letters end, ent, or mp below. Picture number 1. What can you see? Excellent. Plant. It ends with the letters ent or the sound ent. Great. Picture number 2. What can you see? Great. Pond. So it ends with the sound nd. Nd. Excellent. Picture number 3. What can you see? Excellent. Sand. It ends with the sound nd. Nd. Excellent. Picture number 4. What can you see? Tent. So it ends with the sound nt. Nt. Picture number 5. It's a lamp. Mp. Mp. And the last picture, it's camp. Camp. Mp. Mp. Let's move to our workbook, page 67, exercise number 2. Complete the words with the sounds end, ent, and ump. Number 1, there's a frog in the pond. Number 2, she's playing in the sand. Excellent. 3, I like sleeping in a tent. Good job. 4, he's holding a lamp. Great. 5, there's a camp in the field. 6, there's a plant under the tree. Excellent. Now let's move for exercise number 3. We have here some words. We're gonna write them in the blanks. We put up the tent at the big camp. Excellent. We hear the wind. We light the lamp. Excellent. We sit by the pond. We look at the plants. We're happy together, just me and my aunt. Excellent. It's skills time. We are in class book page 72. Gonna have reading. But before we read, let's learn some new nouns and new adjectives. Look and repeat after me. Building, building, building. Excellent. Country, country, country. Great. Bridge, bridge, bridge. Excellent. River, river, river. Wonderful. Old, old, old. Well done. Long, long, long. You can notice here that building, country, bridge, and river are nouns. And old and long are adjectives. Again, building, country, bridge, and river are nouns. Old and long are adjectives. Now, let's learn what is the differences between long, high, and tall adjectives. Let's start with long. Long is generally used with a horizontal measure. With a horizontal measure. Let's see some examples. It's a long car. It's a long car. We are talking here or describe the horizontal measure. So we say it's a long car. Let's see another example. It's a long ruler. It's a long ruler. It's the same thing. We are describing a horizontal measure, so we use long. So we use long when we want to describe a horizontal measure. Let's move for high. High is generally used with a vertical measure with wide, non-living things. Let's see some examples. It's a high mountain. It's a high mountain. You can notice here that we are describing a vertical measure and the mountain is wide, so we use high. It's a high mountain. Another example. It's a high wall. It's a high wall. You can notice here also that we are talking or describing a vertical measure and the wall is wide, so we use high. We use high. Great. Let's move for tall. Tall is generally used with a vertical measure, but with a thin living things. Thin living things. Let's see some examples. He is a tall man. He is a tall man. You can notice here that we are talking about vertical measure. The man is thin and he is a living thing, right? So we use tall. Look at this tree. It's a tall tree. It's a tall tree. We are talking here also about a vertical measure. The tree is thin and it's a living thing. So we use tall. Again, we use long to describe a horizontal measure. We use high to describe a vertical measure with wide, non-living things. And we use tall to describe a vertical measure with thin living things. Now, I will show you some pictures and you have to tell me what can you see. Okay, picture number 1. What can you see in picture number 1? Who can tell me? Excellent! We can see an old building or an old temples. Great! Picture number 2. What can you see? Excellent! We can see a long bridge. A long bridge. Excellent! Picture number 3. What can you see? Excellent! We can see a map for some countries. A map for some countries. Picture number 4. What can you see? We can see a long river. A long river. Excellent. And now, let's start reading. World records. Here are some of the world's records. There are many interesting facts. The Gigantia temples are in Malta. The temples are over 5,500 years old. They are the oldest temples in Europe. The longest bridges over water are the two bridges over Lake Pontchartrain in the USA. The bridges are nearly 24 miles long. You can't see land from the middle of the bridges. Russia is the biggest country in the world. It's 17,075,400 square kilometers. That is 12.5% of the Earth's surface. In Russia, there are 11 different time zones. Russia is between Europe and Asia. The longest river in the world is the Nile. The Nile is 6,695 kilometers long. The Nile flows through 9 countries in Africa. The last country is Egypt. From Egypt, it flows into the Mediterranean Sea. Now, after we read, let's answer exercise number 4. Read again and match the sentences halves. Number 1. The Gigantia temples are the oldest temples in Europe. D. 2. Lake Pontchartrain is in the USA with C. 3. Russia is the biggest country in the world with B. 4. The Nile is the longest river in the world with A. Excellent. Now, let's move for our workbook, page 68, and answer exercise number 2. Read the text in the class book and write. Number 1. The Gigantia temples are the oldest temples in Europe. They are over 5,500 years old. Number 2. The two bridges over Lake Pontchartrain are the longest bridges over water in the world. They are nearly 24 miles long. Number 3. Russia is the biggest country in the world. It's about 17,075,400 square kilometers. Number 4. The Nile is the longest river in the world. It's 6,695 kilometers long.
Listening 87.
Now, it's
Listen
listening time.
and complete the table.
Listen and complete the
Number
table.
1.
What's the biggest lake in Egypt?
Is it Lake Nasser?
Yes, it is. What's the longest river in Egypt?
The Nile.
Yes. What's the highest mountain in Egypt?
Mount Catherine.
That's right.
Number 2.
What's the biggest lake in Spain?
Is it Lake Sanabria?
Yes, it is. What's the longest river in Spain?
The Tagus.
That's right. What's the highest mountain in Spain?
It's Mount Tide.
Yes.
Number 3.
What's the biggest lake in Brazil?
Is it Lake Patos?
Yes, it is. What's the longest river in Brazil?
The Amazon.
That's right. What's the highest mountain in Brazil?
Is it Fog Peak?
Yes, it is.
Number 4.
What's the biggest lake in the UK?
It's Loch Ness.
That's right. What's the longest river in the UK?
Oh, I don't know that.
The longest river in the UK is the Severn. What's the highest mountain in the UK?
Is it Ben Nevis?
Yes, it is. Very good.
Let's talk about adverbs of frequency. As we mentioned before, adverbs of frequency tell us how often something happens. We have always, which means 100%, sometimes 50%, and never 0%. We usually put adverbs of frequency before the verbs. Let's see some examples. I always play football. You can notice here that play is the verb, and we put always before the verb. Let's see another example. She sometimes go to the shopping mall. Here, go is the verb, so we put sometimes before the verb go. We never go to the cinema. Here the verb is go, and as you see, we put never before the verb go. Great! In case if the verb to be is the main verb in the sentence, the adverbs of a frequency go after the verb to be. Let's see some examples. The summer is always hot. You can notice here that we have verb to be is in present, and we have the adverb of frequency always. So always go after the verb to be is. Let's see another example. He was never late for the interview. Here, the verb to be was, which is in the past, is the main verb, and never, which is adverb of a frequency, go after the verb to be was. So, if the verb to be is the main verb in the sentence, the adverbs of a frequency go after the verb to be. Some adverbs like sometimes can go at the beginning or at the end of the sentences. We can put sometimes at the beginning of the sentence and at the end of the sentence and before the verb. Let's see the examples. I sometimes play football. You can notice here that we put sometimes before the verb play. Sometimes I play football. You can notice here that we put sometimes at the beginning of the sentence. I play football sometimes. In this sentence, we put sometimes at the end of the sentence. So, sometimes can go at the beginning of the sentence, at the end of the sentence, and before the verb. Here, we are in class book page 73, writing preparation, exercise number 3. Are these sentences correct? Read and tick or cross. Number 1. I always go to Lake Sanabria on holiday. Correct. Number 2. Alison cooks never. Incorrect. 3. You watch DVDs sometimes. Correct. Number 4. The boys play football always. Incorrect. 5. Always I go swimming on Saturdays. Incorrect. 6. She sometimes plays chess. Correct. 7. They never eat Italian food. Correct.